Hi guys, Paulmartinbelts back here again for a brand new video. This is just going to be another replica belt description review video. It's a continuation of, if you've seen my replica Big Logo version 1 versus version 2 comparison video. This right here is the version 3, so I figured since I've not filmed that one yet and some people have been asking about it after I put an annotation on the previous video saying that there was a V3, people wanted to see it. I've got one that I'm re-leathering right now, so I'll explain the differences between that and the previous versions and basically just give a quick overview of it, so if you're looking to buy one, you'll know what you're getting. Okay, this is as standard. I put the plates back onto this. I'm re-leathering this like I said, so I put the plates back on the strap. The strap is of course simulated leather. I'll point out these two aren't attached, just to give a description in a second. The snap boxes aren't the best. They've gone back to sewing on the type of vinyl that they put on the back of the straps. This is what they used to do with the old 2mm belts. So they've gone back to doing that, annoyingly, which obviously looks quite ugly. Which is strange because they've done the imitation tooling for this and the part on the other side, as well as the borders. So I don't know why they didn't continue it onto here like they did with the previous versions of this. I mean, they've got the imitation tooling there. I've got the version 1 and version 2 straps here. This here is the version 2. This is the version 1. If you can see, that's just the version 3 of the sewn on snap box. Version 2 has it sewn on, but it has the imitation tooling on it, as you would have seen in the comparison video. And then the V1 is just nothing sewn on, just completely stamped into it. Version 2 of course has the tooling behind the center plate, which would have had the cutout. The V1 didn't have any of that. Version 2 had the bolt in the center, which is under this part on that, to hold it in place. But right now I'm just talking about the strap. So of the three, the V2 I think easily has the best strap because it's exactly the same on the other side. These are the V1 and 2. They've got the nice imitation tooling, while this again is just sewn on. And the snap ratio snap spacing between here is a lot different than any other replica belt. I don't know if it'll show up as well on camera, but the spacing between the snaps this way is a lot shorter than the other version. I mean, all three versions have a different spacing, which is just kind of ridiculous. I mean, the correct spacing is the version 2's, and I know people probably won't like me just going on about how much better the version 2 is than the other versions, but honestly, it's just the best one. I've got the tip off right now because I've got a version 1 tip here. This is the one that went on this strap up here. As you can tell, I've just taken that off to compare it with the version 3 tip, which you can tell the different shade in gold. Sorry, that's got fingerprints on it. Because the version 2 had the lighter shade of gold, which is what was on most older replica belts, which is this style. Version 1 and version 3 have plates this shade, but for some reason, as you can tell, that shade matches. The tip that comes on this belt, this one, doesn't match, and the shapes are very different. The version 1 tip is longer in length, not by much, but you can see about 4 or 5 millimeters there, but this one can't fit on here because of that. So it's a bit strange that they send a tip with this one that doesn't match the gold colouring, but who knows why they do that. But yeah, that's the strap. Like I said, it's got that type on the back, so it's all good. The plates, I took these off just to give an example of the belt. The plates are identical to the version 1, other than this being cut out. If you remember on the version 1, it had the solid bit kind of lower down and painted over in black, so it wouldn't show up. Lighting ain't the best here, but you can probably see there. That's cut out to show the back of the strap, which again, this instead of being tooling like it was in the version 2, which looks very accurate, this is just another piece of sewn on back of strap material, which really just looks quite ugly. But it is what it is. The plates are alright. The plates like I said, basically the V1 ones. The side plates have little tabs on them here. If those are showing up, you can just see them at the corners. Here, there we go. This is to hold the side plate discs in these areas in place. If you saw the comparison video between V1 and 2 I did, a big issue I had was when the plates were on the strap was they were actually sinking in like that throughout the whole strap. But with these tabs on them, you can see here on the one that's attached, the sinking is very minimal, and it's a big improvement over the V1. But again, V2 had the full back completely metal there, which was more accurate to the real thing. But unfortunately, they didn't continue that to the V3. So yeah, there's not much I have to go into on the plates really, because like I said, they're almost identical to the version 1. Unfortunately, they've gone back to using the same screws that they used on the version 1, if this focuses, which annoyingly, I don't know if this will show up as well on camera. I'm trying to find the most obvious one. These screws aren't perfectly circular, which is a pain because I've had a few almost break because of this while I'm relathering, because they're not circular, they don't hold on very well, they're just not very good screws. But that's what they're using for this belt, unfortunately, so I guess we have to live with that. I should point out, in the comparison video I did previously, it was my understanding at the time that the version 2 was the first WWE made replica belt without Wrestling Superstore Figures Inc. I'll correct that. The partnership between WWE and Figures Inc. had ended by the time the version 2 came out, but the version 2 was made by Figures Inc. and then WWE just sold it. Sold the stock they had of that, and then brought out the version 3, which is the first WWE made officially just by WWE without the Figures Inc. partnership. This is the first one they did, so you can see official WWE Authentic, which this was the previous Wrestling Superstore stamp. You can see the big Wrestling Superstore Figures Toy Company logo, official licensed Figures Toy Company, Tampa, Florida address, the Wrestling Superstore address, web address, and then the WWE logos. This one, since it's just WWE exclusive, it's official WWE Authentic Replica Championship title, made in China, www.shop.com, and then WWE All Rights Reserved 2013. And the WWE holographic sticker there that comes on most replicas. So yeah, this is the first replica WWE have produced themselves without the partnership with Figures Inc. They're using the same place that Figures Inc. have their belts made, so it's the same manufacturers in China. WWE basically just cut out the middleman in Figures Inc. So they're basically, that means WWE get more of the profit. Don't expect replica belt prices to go down because they're no longer paying Figures Inc. All it means is WWE will make more money for themselves, which I suppose is fair enough. If they don't need the middleman, why bother with it? So if I'm giving my honest opinion of the version 3, it is a good replica belt. It's a big improvement over the version 1, mainly because of the spacing in between the W taken out. The tabs on the side plates are a big improvement, because you can see if you push one side of it, it still sinks down, but the center of it won't, and it keeps it generally in place very well. So that's a big improvement over the V1. The sidebars are identical to the version 1. If you remember, the V2 had really quite tall ones, which were a lot nicer, but these ones are fine. The curve isn't very good, unfortunately. The version on TV does have a pretty decent curve when you see it in the right light, you can really tell. I'm disappointed this version doesn't have the bolt behind here like the V2 did, because that holds the strap in place. If you can see, it just sinks down without that, which doesn't make a huge difference, but it just, when it's together and has that bolt, it makes it feel like a more solid replica. But you can live with that, obviously. The tooling looks fine. It's not as deep. Obviously this isn't real tooling, it's just machine pressed. It's not as deep as the version 1. It's similar to what the V2 had, but But all three of them have done a very good job of the imitation tooling, I'll have to say that. To give them credit, the imitation tooling is pretty much spot on in these areas. So yeah, I'm hoping this kind of gives a good overview of the belt itself if you're looking to get it. As far as I know, the V2 is no longer being sold. A few people have said they ordered recently from WWEshop.com, sorry, and got the V2. I'm assuming that's just them clearing out old stock. They might have them all together and just randomly send out a V2 or a V3 without knowing the difference. So I'd be very surprised to see many more V2s being sent out to people now, as this will be the permanent stock, the V3, unless they decide to bring out a V4, in which case it would start to get ridiculous, to be honest. But we'll see. Like I said, it's a decent replica. If you're looking for a replica that's good quality, fairly accurate to the TV version, you can't go wrong with this. It's a very nicely made replica belt. There are improvements to be made, but overall it's a good replica belt. I do recommend it myself. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in a re-leather of this belt or any custom real belt, contact me through my website Paulmartinbelts.com, through my Facebook page, which is Paulmartinbelts, or paulmartinbelts@gmail.com. Thank you very much for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe. Goodbye.